Zdravo, ja sam Marina, urednica web sajta biljnaishrana.com, a sada imam veliku čast da pričam sa Lisom Holt iz Teksasa.
Hi Lisa.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, great. Thank you and honored to talk to you. Could you please briefly introduce yourself and tell us what you are doing professionally?
Well, my name is Lisa Holt, and by trade, I am a hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist for about 16 years, and I also do personal training and nutrition coaching to help people transition to a low-fat, raw vegan diet, 80-10-10.
How would you describe your personal diet?
I actually was introduced to raw food in 2003. But at that time, I was doing a high-fat, gourmet, raw diet, and did that consistently for 3 years, and shortly after that, I realized the benefits I had initially felt I wasn't feeling anymore, and it just wasn't working, so I went back to being cooked vegan. Shortly after that, maybe a couple years, that I crossed 80-10-10 and read it, made sense to me, and I thought, let me go back to this raw food thing because I really liked it, and been doing it ever since and haven't looked back.
You are also a bodybuilder, right? A competitive
Correct.
bodybuilder. Is it possible to build muscles by eating fruits and veggies and some over fats like nuts and seeds?
Absolutely. I have had no problem whatsoever building muscle. It's all about being consistent, getting into the gym, or whatever means you have to lift weight. It's all about resistance and consistent resistance training, coupled with whatever your cross training is, whether it's running, sprinting, or swimming. But as long as you're consistent, you will see results.
Many people tell me that they have an issue when they transit to a low-fat raw vegan diet. They lose a lot of weight, which I tell them that probably the initial stage it's healthy losing weight because they are detoxifying. But then some of them tell me months after that they still didn't regain some of the weight they lost, and they would like to gain back some of the weight. They don't want to be that skinny. And they always complain that they've lost a lot of muscle. So what would be your advice to them? Is that maybe a misconception? Did they think they had a lot of muscle, but it was actually something else? Does salt play a critical role in how much weight people are carrying around?
There's usually a couple of things going on. As you mentioned with salt, a lot of times people are retaining a lot of water when they transition to a raw vegan diet, and a lot of that weight that's shed is water weight. Eats enough, which is another issue. A lot of people when they transition are not eating enough, and that's one of the biggest things that I advocate, is make sure you're getting enough calories, not just 1 or 2 bananas. But if they eat enough and exercise correctly, they will be at a healthy, vibrant weight.
But besides eating enough, is exercising also crucial in building the muscle?
If you consume, your fruits and veggies unlimited, you will put on some weight. And if you don't, give your body some movement and really activate, your lymphatic system on a regular basis, your body will store that energy, and which will be extra weight. What I eat in a day? Generally, I'll wake up. I'll usually train first.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like to train on an empty stomach. Come back and I'll make sure that I have some juicy fruit calories. So sometimes, most of the time, that'll be watermelon. Depending on the season. Usually a couple hours later, I might have, I'd say 3 pounds of clementines, and then later in the day, I may have a couple of mangoes. In between that time, I'll usually have a head of romaine, or maybe about 10 to 16 ounces of spinach. Evening for dinner, I'll have just a gigantic salad and make a nice dressing. And usually that'll do me pretty well throughout the day. So I probably eat usually about 4 meals a day.
What is the main difference between high-fat and low-fat raw vegan diet?
I found that for me personally, I had some female issues that, for me, low-fat really corrected a lot of that. A lot of high-fat raw vegans will do the fruit and fats together, like, you know, the dates and the nuts and the dessert. It's just a big whammy to the system. It can't process it efficiently. I find that with having a high fruit-based diet, you have the energy to go out and be active, do things, enjoy life.
How do other people in this bodybuilding competitions, what are their diets like? And what do they say when they see the way you eat?
The difference is that they focus a lot on protein. So your protein intake will be very high from meat products. And they really restrict the carbohydrate intake. So for women, usually the carb intake is usually no more than 120 grams a day, which if you figure that out on a chronometer is not very much. And then they'll have a small amount of fats, which is usually equivalent to about 4 tablespoons of peanut butter a day. So it's quite different from the raw vegan diet. I have friends that are competitors that are not vegetarian, obviously not vegan or raw vegan. They see how I eat, they see the abundance of what I'm eating, and they're just like, I don't know about that. Even though they see that I'm in great shape and condition, it still puts questions in their minds. So it's really hard for people to step out of that mindset. But I feel like I am making a statement and trying to make a difference in the competition world. I actually, at my last competition this was about 5-6 weeks ago, had a competitor come up to me and said, I really admire what you're doing, and I can see that it's going to make a difference. And so that was really, really nice to hear and know that people are watching and they are paying attention and taking note.
You're making a great difference. What do you think, why are people in bodybuilding world afraid of fruit?
They've been told for so long that fruit is bad. The sugar, you know, we all hear our whole life how bad sugar is for us. And granted, you don't want to be intaking processed sugar.
Absolutely.
But this translates to fruit as well, and people are just afraid, especially female competitors, they're afraid of gaining weight.
Do they have any bad consequences from eating the way they eat? A lot of protein and no sugar, no fruit?
A lot of the consequences that I see in the competition world, especially with women, is not so much geared towards them not having fruit, but it's in the restriction of calories in and of itself, because they restrict their calories so low, but they increase their exercise so high. And so a lot of girls are doing anywhere from an hour to 2 hours of cardio a day on very low calories. So when the competition is over and their body comes out of that starvation mode, they automatically just gorge on food, and obviously their exercise level comes back down. So a lot of girls do end up gaining a lot of weight, and they become frustrated and don't know what to do and don't realize what their options are. I feel one of my goals and purposes in life is to really motivate women, especially, and I'm really excited about it, and especially because I just recently got the opportunity to partner up with Doug Graham, who wrote 80-10-10, and we're going to be doing a week-long event in Cedar Woolley, Washington, on women's physique.
Thank you. I wish you the most success in the world, really.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye.